Consider the context. August 1st, August 2nd, August 3rd in the phone data review that involves Chris Watts' first 3 days in North Carolina with his family, first full 3 days. Those stand out as islands of nothingness. They're an anomaly. For the entire month of July, there's not a single instance of just one entry on a particular day. Now we're in August, at a time when a lot was happening emotionally, and what happens? That the data review goes blank. Not only for 1 day, but for 3 consecutive days. Was that because nothing was happening? Was there a kind of emotional doldrum going on?
I got nightmares in my head, I fear thoughts build up until I can't feel. My mind fills up into a creature, and it haunts me somewhere much deeper. I got nightmares in my head, I fear.
Hello and welcome to True Crime Rocket Science, the most authentic and independent voice in true crime. Before we get to August 4th, I want to emphasize this point some more. To appreciate the sheer unusualness of the skeletal entries on August 1st, 2nd and 3rd, one has to glance forward in time as well. Starting on August 4th and ending 2 days after the murders when the phone data review concludes, each individual date is thick with entries. Why? Because a lot was happening. So why is nothing happening on the 1st, 2nd and 3rd? Well, the data on the dates just preceding Watts' trip to North Carolina is also packed with information. The phone data review for July 28th, 29th, 30th and 31st are approximately 1 page each. So why is nothing happening on the 1st, 2nd and 3rd? Well, because the absence of evidence is evidence. We would expect to see a lot of interaction between Watts and Shanann, and for that matter, Watts and Kessinger, in those first 3 days in North Carolina. Probably a lot of the interaction between Watts and Shanann is taking place in the real world, not online and not via text. And I think a lot of what is going on is things that aren't going on, things that aren't being said. You know, the subtleties of emotion. In any event, on August 4th, we're provided with a sizable window into what's been brewing and what's come out the night before, August 3rd. But before we take a look at that, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do. If you're finding this analysis on the phone data review useful and you're not subscribed to the channel, please do subscribe. Also hit the notification bell. If you're interested in taking more time to read the scripts and read the phone data review, you're welcome to join Patreon, where these are provided. In terms of this script for August 4th, I'm not dealing with all of the information. And so if you want all of the information, you might want to join Patreon. It's available on the $3 tier. Of course, also the book series deals exhaustively with literally all the information. And now let's get started with today's episode. Phone data review, August 4th, 2018, 00:45 hours. For over 2 hours, Kessinger searches Google for wedding dresses. Then at 03:36 hours, in a lengthy message, Shanann tells Watts, "Truth came out last night. I didn't create no dagger between you and your dad. That was done by your mom and your dad, and I won't change a thing. My daughter's life is way more important, and you better believe I wanted to say a whole lot more than I did, but I was being the bigger person and protecting Bella. I didn't tell your dad not to come to the party. I didn't tell him not to text or call your daughter on her birthday. I didn't tell him to start acting like he only has 2 grandkids instead of 4. I didn't block your family on Facebook. He did. Myself and your kids have nothing to say to them. They do. They owe your kids their life. Your parents' home isn't a safe zone. Your mom isn't safe. You can let them tell you what you want, but I didn't tell anyone to stop loving your kids or stop acting like it. He did that, not me. You can believe I created this dagger, but I didn't do that. I stood up for our kids. I advocated and protected our children. I don't ever want to hear, 'I'm sorry I killed your kid because I was stupid.' That would kill me. These kids are my world, and I have to protect them from the evil of the world. I shouldn't have to protect them from evil family. Our kids deserve the same love and attention the other kids get, nothing less. I'm not accepting 'I'm sorry' from your mom because she doesn't mean it and she knew what she was doing. I made it very clear not to eat it around Celeste because she doesn't understand. I think that's a reference to ice cream. Way before that happened. She's evil and willing to risk your daughter's life just to get under my skin. You and your dad are no different if you are okay with her behavior. There's nothing wrong with me and I'm not crazy. I just love my kids way too much. From the day I left, you never said I missed you before I said it. Something changed when I left. You may be happier alone and that's fine. You can be alone. This pregnancy, you have failed to acknowledge it or to acknowledge how I'm feeling. The first trimester is the scariest and most dangerous yet, and we can lose this baby at any point till delivery. I'm not going to be treated this way for having the balls to protect our family and kids. I should get a gold fucking medal for handling it the way I did, because I had a lot of choice words I wanted to say to her and your dad for his stupidity. No one stands up to your mom and your dad for that. He's just as guilty by not doing anything. This part is a little garbled. She writes, I have nothing to do with him stopping sharing memories of his grandkids. What does that have to do with me? They are fucking with our kids' feelings, and that I'm not okay with. I'm their mother and I will protect them. I have enough to worry about with the world out there. I'm not going to worry about family. I will just remove it. Pretty ominous words. Imagine Chris Watts saying that. I'm not going to worry about family. I will just remove it. So you see, you have this big explosion where Shanann writes a great deal. Bear in mind, she's right there with Chris Watts. He's there in North Carolina with her. But she's writing this down because they are sleeping apart. And also when they talk, they're not really talking. And that's what warrants this huge text. And so how does Chris Watts respond? How does he react? Well, at 0513, Shanann adds, I also don't control what you do. If you want to go hang out with your parents today, by all means do so. But without us. Don't put it on me why you can't go. You are your own person. So this whole explosion is to do with he wants to go and visit his parents. I think he wants to take the kids with. And Shanann's not very happy with this. Then more than 2 hours later, Watts finally replies to Shanann for the first time at 0726. And he writes, these kids mean the world to me and always will. Do you believe that? Yes, my mom truly screwed up in a huge way, more than a huge way. So can you see how he's telling Shanann what he wants, what he thinks she wants to hear? He's manipulating Shanann. He's trying to just calm things down. I don't know what I would have done if something happened to Cece. These kiddos are the light of my life, and seeing their sweet, incredible smiles and playfulness makes me smile every day. That's kind of what he said on the Sermon on the Porch when he was saying, they mean everything to me in the light of what he just done to them. Then he says, I'm sorry for the way I've been acting. It's just been in my head and I haven't been right at all. So he's kind of minimizing the whole affair as just, well, I've been acting perhaps a little strange, but it's all to do with Nutgate. Is it? It's obviously a lot more serious than that. Then at the bottom of page 20, that's Discovery page 2100, at 0731, 5 minutes later, Shanann responds with 2 messages to Watts. Yes, that I created this dagger between you and your dad. That wasn't me. That was them. I protected your daughter from their stupidity. They created that and you belong with them thinking otherwise. I didn't tell your dad to remove himself from the kid's life. I did and do not deserve to be treated the way you have. I defended our daughter. Again, remember, they basically in the same house texting one another early in the morning. At 0748, Watts replies to Shanann, yes, you protected our daughter and I thank you for that 1,000,000 times 1,000,000. Can you see how manipulative this is? He's trying to be as conciliatory as possible. He goes on to say, I don't think they are innocent in any of this. They do want to be in the kid's life and I'm not sure they even know how to right now. It's kind of quite an interesting sentence he writes there because I'm sure he feels the same way. Right then, Chris Watts is literally wrestling with how to be in his family's life, but more particularly how not to be. He goes on to say, they should have swallowed whatever they needed to and came to Cece's birthday party and called her and shouldn't have blocked all social media contact with them. When he refers to they should have swallowed whatever they needed, think about this idea of him poisoning Shanann, her swallowing what he needs her to swallow. He says, I don't care what they do with us, just as long as they love and respect the kids. And then look at this. I'm not used to not having a relationship with my dad. I should have just called him before it got to this point where it got in my head and I didn't, and that's my fault. Now, obviously, in my analysis, which I posted on Patreon, I basically looked through all of these statements and analyzed them statement by statement. It's basically like a chapter in a book. If you're interested in looking at that, I'll put a link to that in the description. Now we go to the third page from the discovery, dealing with these text interactions. At 0803, Shanann responds to Watts, why should you beg them, meaning Watts' parents, to be in their life? They pick up the phone and apologize for starters. They show up to her birthday, especially since we were an hour away. They did this. They make the effort. You blame me for the so-called dagger between you and them. Fuck that. You are just like them. Believe what he tells you and move back home where you weren't appreciated when I met you. No one ever protected you from your mom, and someone should have before me. I'm done being the bad guy in all this, especially when I had more balls to stand up for you a long time ago with them. My bad for thinking you deserve better. Now my kids are in the pick and I'm done. And then there's quite a big gap, about 4 hours. At 11:53, continuing this conversation, Shanann tells Watts, while it's on my mind, if I'm in the wrong, that's one thing, but I'm not here. And you not standing up for us and the girls is not cool. You just make it so they feel they did no wrong and brush it under the rug. And I think she's right about that. Because he is brushing it under the rug. But he's got a whole nother agenda taking place. I will never trust your parents alone with our kids, ever. This is the week we started dating 8 years ago. They ruin everything special. I won't forgive you or them for that. I'm tired of it. I'm the one that takes care of you, not them. You make me feel like complete shit these last several weeks, especially this week, and I'm not okay with it, and it won't change my ways when it comes to our kids. And I always defended you, always. 3 minutes later, Shanann added, I'm not asking you to choose who to be with. I shouldn't have to ask you to choose right from wrong. You are not happy, then you know where to go. Worst summer ever. Well, it is about to become by far the worst summer ever for Shanann. Not only the worst summer ever, but her last summer ever. If we look at the next entry, which is about 2 hours and 15 minutes later at 14:10, Kessinger searched Google for Watts' and Shanann's Facebook accounts. It makes you wonder whether he told her something about the arguments that were taking place, because they certainly do involve and include Facebook. And this also raises a question. We know for certain that Kessinger was searching for Shanann's Facebook on that particular day. Could she have found out that Chris Watts' wife was pregnant? Or did she know that all along? Well, if she knew that all along, why would Chris Watts want to end this pregnancy? Why would he be trying to get rid of Nico? Have you ever considered that? Have you ever thought about that? And that's the point of this phone data review, is to update our knowledge of a particular case, things we've long believed that may not have been true to begin with. Right, I'm not going to take it further than that. There's a lot more analysis on this particular day, August 4th, but you'll have to head to Patreon, the $3 tier, in order to read the rest. Remember, if you access the $5 tier, you get access to not only the books on Chris Watts, the audiobooks on the $5 tier, but you also have access to everything on the tiers below that, including this. So consider that as well. Anyway, thank you for listening, and I'll see you guys next time.